Hey guys, it's Carl Brown here from GuitarLessons365.com, and we are here for another episode of Ask Carl, where you guys can ask me just about anything you want, just about anything. So before we get started here, yesterday Allan Holdsworth died, which is just a huge tragedy for the guitar community. Even if you guys don't know who Allan Holdsworth is, please check out his stuff. He will blow your mind. And most of the guitar players that you probably admire, like Eddie Van Halen and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani or Tom Morello, anybody, they're all took a big influence from Allan Holdsworth. So he is a legend, and unfortunately, I guess financially, he didn't have a lot of money at the end of his life, and they need money for his memorial services and everything. So there's a GoFundMe page that was set up yesterday for him. So I'm going to link to that. So if you guys want to help contribute, as guitar players, we have got to stick together, and he was definitely one of the greatest. So any help that you could give him, that would be really great. All right, so let's lighten the mood up a little bit here. I got the questions that you guys sent, a lot of good questions here again. Stream it down to just like a dozen here. So, and like I said, we're probably going to end up doing this live. I just got this kind of YouTube live so I can answer more questions. But that'll be coming real soon. I still got to figure out how to make it work. All right, so first question is Simon asked, what is your worst on-stage experience? There's a lot of bad ones. All right, so let me say there's probably the one that most of you guys know. If you saw some of my live events that I did last summer, and I would chat with you guys, the video link was getting passed around of me on stage in Vegas. I was playing in a group called the Bugsy's Hitmen, like a cover group, and I think that video we're playing like Let's Go Crazy and Hot for Teacher and stuff. And I'm on this big stage in Vegas, and at the end of Hot for Teacher, I tried to do this drum riser leap, and I just fell to my back. But I still ripped the ending solo to the song while on my back. So I'll put a link to that video if you guys want to laugh at me a little bit. I don't care. But beyond that, there's been things. I remember playing Whip It in a band, and another cover band, because you got to make money, you got to do cover songs. And the singer got sick in the middle of the song and literally ran off the stage, and we had to continue playing. So I had to do like an 8 to 10 minute improvised solo over Whip It, which is probably not the greatest improvisation vehicle there is in the guitar lexicon. So that was embarrassing. Literally people were like, what is this guy thinking? He's doing a 10-minute guitar solo over Whip It. But, you got to do what you got to do. And probably my first gig experience was not a very good one. And I was just a kid, I was a young teenager or whatever, and we had like a local battle of bands. And my band, we had rehearsed for it, and we were like this metal band, and we were going to get up there and just blow everybody away, our little 30-minute slot. And it was being live on the radio, which back then bands actually made it on the radio, and it was live. The contest was being live. We got up there, could not hear anything. The monitors, the sound guys were horrible. It was like 30 degrees and like sleeting rain, and it was so bad. Within like 2 minutes of our set, our bass player just goes up in the mic and screams some obscenities at the sound guys, and we got disqualified immediately because of that. So it was not a great first experience on stage, but they got better after that. All right, Dustin says, quick question. I've been watching your old videos on Sweet Child of Mine so I could piece it together slowly, but recently I saw you do your vocal rendition of the song, where I do my instrumental cover versions. I don't know if you guys have seen that on my Song Lesson channel. I'm going to be doing more of those, by the way, which, by the way, is absolutely amazing. Thank you. Question is, I noticed that you did the first part of the main solo different, specifically the part just before it ramps up in the solo, I guess. Sounds the same, but why the change, and should I still follow your old video? Thanks, Carl. You have no idea how much your videos have helped me progress. Well, I appreciate the question and the cool comments. That Sweet Child solo, it's basically when I did that first video, there wasn't the video evidence that we have now all over YouTube of 1,000 different ways of him playing it live, playing it live. So the same notes can be played multiple ways on the guitar. So, I'll probably shoot that video again. And in the fast run itself, I play it a little differently now too. which I think is more accurate, which you can get by software that I didn't have back then. You can kind of slow it down a little bit. For the most part, I think the solo is very accurate. It's just exactly where he plays the notes, not the actual notes change. And I went for that for the new video because I can actually see it when I kind of reviewed it. But yeah, I'll probably redo just that. But for the most part, yeah, play it like my new video. David asked, what type of guitar are you playing in the Shook Me All Night Long video? That is a Sterling by Music Man JP100. It's a John Bertucci signature model, but it's one of the really cheap ones. I mean, not cheap guitar, but it's not like his regular Music Man, $3,000 guitar. I mean, it's probably like a $600 guitar. So it's like a backup guitar for me on stage, and I use it for like the humbucker kind of crazy stuff for the website. Zane asked, are there any bad songs by good bands? Yes, I think so. I don't know if, I love the 80s, but man, there's so many great 80s bands that have great songs. Like half the album is just amazing, and then half the album you're like, who wrote this stuff? It's like just constant filler. But it's not just the 80s music. I guess maybe the 80s stick out more to me because I think the songs are actually better. But all the bands from the 90s, they seem to have like a couple of great songs, and then the rest of it is just like, I don't know where it comes from. So I think there's very few bands that I like, very few albums that I think are just solid all the way through. There's always those little tracks in there that, I don't know, maybe their mom wrote it or something. I don't know what it is, but I don't know where it comes from. Marcel asks, hey Carl, I've been playing guitar for 2 years, but I don't know how to get a better sound out of my guitar. I can play songs like Voodoo Child and Sweet Child of Mine. Good on you. But I can't get a great guitar sound, which I love. Is this an amp issue as it is a small on the crunch bass mid tone volume? And if so, which amps are affordable yet very good? If you've seen any of my videos, you have never heard an amp. I don't use amps in my videos. I use little guitar modeling, right? Like right now I'm using a Pod HD500X. It has all the tones I want, all the effects I want, right at my feet. The whole thing brand new would cost like $500. So you could probably get one of these used for $300. So instead of maybe buying an amp that you have to lug around and then a billion pedals, maybe investigate that if you have a kind of you can get a low budget. You can get a lot out of those modeling processors from like Line 6, or if you have a little bit more money, maybe Fractal. That gear is just amazing. All right, so let's talk a little bit. Christopher asks, just how fast can you play measured in beats per minute for every single note? I do not know. I used to keep track of that stuff when I was like a teenager and stuff, but it kind of doesn't interest me anymore. I don't know. And it depends on the technique. Some techniques you can do fast, some techniques you can't do. If it's like strict alternate picking on one string, I don't know, 200 beats a minute with 16th notes, I don't know. Probably somewhere around there, but I'd have to get warmed up. But it's more about keeping it clean, I think. A lot of guys are like, I'm going 200 beats a minute, and it's just like it's all over the place. But like I said, it's not something I really focus on. I just play what needs to be played for what I want to do. And some of it's fast, but I don't think about how many notes per minute is this. Mubashir asks, big fan and love your lessons. They're really helpful. I want to know which lessons I should specifically practice more so that I can be able to cover any song just by hearing. To be more specific, so that I want to be able to recognize the scale the song was played on or the chords used in the song. Now, I have an ear training course it's in the very early stages of my premium section. So if you're a premium subscriber on my website, I have a lot of courses like on improvisation, technique, but one that I'm starting, and then this year I'm going to really try to put the whole thing up this year, is an ear training course, and it's an ear training for guitar players. And any musician can really get something out of it, but it teaches you theory and ear training at the same time. So it's very valuable. So doing something like that will help you, along with learning a lot of songs, because as I say, a lot of the stuff, depending on what the song is, you could be transcribing it by ear or more by just intuitively because you know this artist's style really well. So it's really kind of a combination of both. It's half using your ear and half just knowing, hey, I know how Metallica does their song, so it's not a big mystery to me. So it's kind of half and half. All right, Martins asked, "Hello, Carl. You're the best teacher ever, and I learned all my songs from you. Thank you, man. I have a question in regards to my picking hand index finger. It started hurting on the first knuckle, and I hold my pick just like you said on the video. Is there any advice for the pain to go away?" I don't know if you mean by first knuckle like the tip knuckle or the base knuckle. I'm not a doctor, so I don't diagnose pain. I don't want to be liable for anything. Most of the time, though, if I have an issue going on or I have a student that has an issue, you're using too much thumb pressure. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're putting too much into your thumb. It's just your thumb is pushing against your index finger, which when your index finger is trying to resist it, it causes pain. So the main thing would be lighten up the pressure. It does not require a lot of pressure at all to hold a pick, and you should try to keep as light as pressure as possible to make it through the strings. One issue might be you're holding onto the pick too hard because you're hitting the strings too parallel, and if you're doing that, it's going to require you to hold the pick a little stiffer because there's a lot more contact with the string. It's better to kind of slice through the string. If you see somebody like, if it was just like a rhythm playing or like James Hetfield or any kind, a lot of it they have their picks a little bit angled. Not all players do it, but most of the time it's angled a little bit. Slices through the string a little bit, allows you to hold the pick a lot lighter, and that'll help with the tension issues. Hopefully that'll help. And if it keeps hurting, go see a doctor. Patrick, hey Carl, I consider myself an intermediate player, but I'm still struggling at some faster, more intense solos. I would like to learn a solo in less than a day, haha. So I wanted to ask you, how long does it take you to master a more difficult solo? P.S. You're the greatest teacher player on earth. Wow. There's probably a lot of people who don't agree with you on that. And I really appreciate your work. Oh, thanks, Patrick. How do I learn? How long does it take me to learn a solo? I would say typically the solos that I teach, it could be let's say the more advanced solos I teach. So I would say, the stuff like maybe the Metallica solo or I don't know, what are some other solos? It usually takes maybe just like a half an hour to get it down. It's mostly about memorizing it. The thing is you get a certain level of technique, you don't really worry about that side of things. So it's important to develop your technique. To me, it's more about just becoming familiar with the sound of the solo, and obviously transcribing the notes themselves. So my brain can memorize it if I can hear it in my head. But a lot of the stuff, like if it's a new Metallica song, I don't know. I have to listen to it, just absorb the sound of it, so I can just hum it to myself. And then I can start piecing the notes together, and when I figure something out, I just remember it, and I just kind of start stringing them all together. You get much better at it. But I don't think about, I'm not going to be able to play that, because I've gotten my technique to the point to where I don't really go, I'm not going to be able to play that. I know I'm going to be able to play it. I just got to memorize it first. So that just comes from working on technique. I have technique courses. I help you guys, anybody out, go through them. I have an alternate picking course that's 23 videos. That'll definitely get your chops in shape. So that'll speed you up along, of course, and the more you learn, the quicker it goes. Dibyam, hey, hi sir, I'm from India. My question is that how can I improve my your hand synchronization? I guess now I actually have videos on this channel synchronizing your hands. I have these exercises. I believe I do. That basically I got a printout, and I know I have it in my alternate picking course as well, where it's every combination of 4 fingers and 3 fingers that you can do in this hand. So every combination, there's like 24 combinations you can do in orders that you can play the fingers, and doing it all with alternate picks, so down up for each note, synchronizing that together and be able to do it all over the place. That will get you into shape. So look for that. I have hand synchronization. I think it's actually called hand synchronization, or 4-finger combinations or something like that. And I know it's definitely in my alternate picking courses, all 3 and 4-finger combinations. So that will synchronize everything together really well between your hands. And ask, I might have got that name wrong. Hey Carl, I found your YouTube channel a few months ago and wanted to say that I love learning new songs with you. You're a great teacher. Thanks. So I got a request. Can you make The Shortest Straw and All Nightmare Long by Metallica? Like I said, usually I don't respond to requests in this Ask Carl series because, you know, I hear your requests. I write them down and stuff. But I wanted to address this one because I usually, Metallica, obviously, if you guys know the channel, of any bands that I do, I get more views on my Metallica stuff than anything. So I will eventually hit all of Metallica on there. I'm just working my way through it. I don't want to become just a Metallica channel, so I'll do like one a month. You know, like I just had a new one go live today. So it's one of those things where we're just basically gonna want to take my time getting them out. But you know, I've already got about 30 Metallica songs, note for note, the entire song on the channel. And these guys like Shortest Straw and on great songs, definitely gonna get to them. So eventually we'll have them all, but it's gonna take me a while. All right. Jimmy asks, can you play the guitar by using your left hand for picking and the right one on the fretboard, just like Jimi Hendrix? Now, I'm not a left-handed player, so no. I mean, I could probably play it kind of like a beginner. I mean, I know where to put my fingers, but I have nails for classical guitar on this hand, so that kind of prevents it. And I will tell you, and I've had this conversation with multiple left-handed players and students of mine. I am one of those guys who personally recommends that everybody learn the instrument right-handed. The reason why is there is no dominant hand on the guitar. We do not have if you're right-handed, why do you pick with the right hand? It makes no sense. And then your fret hand is the left hand. There's no reason why you should have to play it left-handed, and you literally have less than 1/10 of 1% availability of the guitars that you can have, because nobody makes it's a lot harder to find quality left-handed guitars. So I always say it doesn't matter. Both hands are extremely awkward on the guitar in the beginning, and it doesn't matter if you. I'm actually probably kind of more ambidextrous, but I used to do a lot of things left-handed too as a kid, but I learned guitar right-handed. And I've had students that are left-handed, and they come in with little cheap, you know. And I'm just like, you know what? Before we start, we're going to start you out right-handed. You're going to enjoy the process a lot more. You're going to be able to watch people and learn from them better, and you're going to be able to have a lot higher quality instruments. Because really, it does not matter. There is no dominant hand in the guitar. They're both equally awkward in the beginning. You don't need more strength for one than the other. So, no, I don't do it. Anton asks, do you watch Anderton's TV? I've seen some episodes of it, and it's usually, they get some good players on there. That'd be fun to get some of those. I want to get some good interviews of mine too. But yeah, he's got some good players, and they show a lot of cool guitars. So yeah, I watch it all the time. It's really interesting. All right, so that is it for this episode of Ask Carl. I will, like I said, I'm gonna try to move this live maybe. So we might not be doing these like uploading videos. Let's just do it live and leave it up there for you guys to watch it. All right, so I'll see you again. I'm putting up some new videos on this channel as well. So hopefully you guys are watching those, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.